his camera on. I see Prem has his camera on for today's session. How about the rest of the participants? How about we all start our cameras and video and keep our videos on for today's session moving forward? Great. Thank you so much, Chetna. Thank you so much, Premlata. Hi, Vandana. Thank you. Thank you so much. How about I see more faces on the screen? I only see a few faces. Thank you, Zareen. And while the rest of us are feeling comfortable enough to switch their videos on, how about we start today's session with a little bit of interaction? Why don't you tell me how you're feeling right now? Is if there's anything particular you're looking for from this session? How is your energy feeling right now? If you had to type just one word and describe how you're feeling right now before the session, and just let the responses flow in the chat box, and let's try and make this session as interactive as possible. Shreans is already with us. Hi, Shreans. You're on mute. Let me. Oops. Hi. How are
I
you doing?
Good to see you.
Thank you. Same here. Okay, so we've got a lot of responses in the chat box. Premlata is saying, um, okay, feeling. Oh, I'm not able to read that. Uh, INI is saying wonderful. Jasmeet says happy. Is it Adbhut? Premlata, can you unmute yourself and Adbhut? Wow.
Yeah,
What a
Adbhut.
beautiful word. What a beautiful word. It's been a while I've heard that word. Thank you so much, Premlata, for sharing that beautiful word with us today. What about the rest of the group? How are we all feeling today? If there's anything that you're looking forward to from this session, feel free to use this space and safe enough to share whatever it is that you're feeling right now in just one word. Grateful. Thank you, Hema. All right. And before we start the session, if I may request all of the rest of the participants to please turn your videos on for today's session, if you're comfortable, because our users do report 3 times deeper experiences when the videos are on, because the leader here, the Shreyans, can see you when the teachings really land with you and when you need any clarification. So allow your guide to be able to look at you while the session is going on, and that way you will be able to make the most of the session today. So I would like to request all of you to keep your videos on for today's session. Thank you, Akanksha, Amita. I see a lot of faces on the screen today. Thank you, Rani. Thank you, Vikash. Hema is saying, want to learn how to manage myself when I'm interacting with my teens. Beautiful question, Hema. Thank you so much. All right, I think now that I see a lot of faces on my screen, we can go ahead and start the session. Once again, a very warm welcome everyone to today's session. My name is Simita and I am Team Soul Sensei. I will be here for you throughout the session. In case you need any sort of assistance, just type it in the chat box and me and my team will get right to it. Vandana is saying, बहुत अच्छा, love you हिंदी में. Oh, thank you so much, Vandana. Wow. So many beautiful responses, so many smiling, beautiful faces on my screen. So pepped up for the session today. Some of you who are new to Soul Sensei, I would like to start the session by sharing that our goal here at Soul Sensei is to make sure that each and every session is a safe and a supportive space where you can ask freely, share openly, and receive abundantly, and leave the session feeling lighter, calmer, and happier. Just to share a quick flow for today's session, we are going to start with a small introduction followed by the practice led by our guide. And we will then open the space for a little Q&A. So you can ask all of your questions in the chat box, or you can even raise your hand when prompted and unmute yourselves and ask it verbally. Throughout the session also, if you're coming across any questions that you would like clarification on, feel free to note them down or just drop them in the chat box and we will pick it up at the end of the session. With time, whatever time permits, we will try to answer as many questions as possible for today's session. For today's beautiful session, we are honored to be guided by none other than Shreans Daga, who is a spiritual teacher and transformation coach who has transformed over 10 lakh lives through his work in spirituality, meditation, neuroscience, and emotional healing. In this live session, Shreyans will share practical tools for understanding your child's emotions, building trust, and creating a safe, supportive parent child relationship. So, expect mindful communication techniques, conflict resolution skills, and heart centered insights that help you connect more deeply with your child. So, let's open ourselves to learn, grow, and strengthen our bond together with today's session. With that, I hand it over to you, Shriyans, and I hope you all have a lovely session today.
Thank you. Thank you, Simita, for a wonderful introduction and a good start, great start. Love your smiling face. Nice. So, friends, welcome you all. Good to see you all. And today's session, we are going to talk about conscious parenting. I think so. Friends, as we talk about conscious parenting, I would like to clarify that whatever I'm sharing today is not like a rule book. These are more like tips or more like pointers which you can apply it in your relationship with your child. Or if you are a child, what is your relationship with your parent and understanding your relationship with your parents, even though you're adults now, but but at one time we were all children, and how our relationship as a child was with our parents shaped our adulthood. So same way you can reflect on your relationship with your parents and also reflect on your relationship with your children, right? And personally for me, I feel there's no greater leadership challenge than parenting. And I believe parenting is not set in stone. It is not drawn in stone. Most of it is on sand. So it's always keep changing. You have to be use your intellect to how to apply these tools in certain situations, certain timing, in certain environment, right? So so friends, are most sacred. Also, before we start, I'll just tell you, I'll be talking for maybe around an hour, 20 minutes, or maybe around 30 minutes. Then we'll do a short meditation for 22 minutes for brain and heart coherence. And then we'll follow it by Q&A, or we can do a Q&A after the session, followed by 22 minutes meditation in the end. Whatever, we'll see whatever Samita feels we should take next, we can take it. But the talk will be around an hour, 20 minutes or so. Right. So I've purposely kept the meditation short so that we have enough time for the talk and some time for Q&A. Yeah. So friends, our most sacred relationship we have as a child is with our parents, right? For us as a children, they are like our heavenly mother, father, right? They are like God. Our parents are like God to us. Also, they reflect both our masculine and our feminine side, both mother and father. And oftentimes we become acting out the same healthy and unhealthy patterns that we have learned as a child. Our relationship with our parents is synonymous with our relationship with the world. This is very important to understand. Whatever is our relationship we have with our parents as a child becomes as we grow up, as we become adult. Because for us as a child, our parents are a world to us, right? So now as we grow up, the same relationship we have with our parents becomes a relationship with our world. For example, if you have grown up feeling not worthy enough, so in your relationship with the whole world, you'll always feel that I'm not worthy enough, so I should be people pleaser. If I, as a parent, as a child, I felt my parents feel I'm not worthy enough, so I should do something to please them so that I can get their love. Now, same thing as we grow up becomes a relationship with the world that, oh, I'm not worthy enough, so I should become a people pleaser. This is just one example I'm giving you how our relationship with our parents becomes our relationship with the world. It is absolutely, our relationship with our parents is absolutely synonymous with our worldly relationships as an adult. Right? And but we are born as a clean slate, but a lot of this conditioning happens from our parents, from the world around us. And before before our mind makes the world makes our mind. Right? So, and with that same mind, now we decode the world. So first, we learn from the world around us, the society, our schooling, our parents, whatever we learn from our mother, father, teacher, preacher, minister, friends, trends, religion, nation, all these conditions our mind, right? And then this is the world, right, which makes up our mind. And with this mind, we makes the world around us. As we grow up, now the world which made our mind, now we decode the world with the same mind. It's an irony, but it's true. Now, another thing to understand also is now no two children have the same set of parents or the same childhood. Because a lot of times children are born, even though you're born from the same parents, but say brother, sister, or two sisters or two brothers born from the same parents, but many times they are born in different time, different birth order, with different degree of sensitivities, with their own past life sanskars or inhibitions or emotional traits of carrying from their own past lives, tendencies from their own past lives. There's a gender difference. So all this, that's why no two children have the same parents or the same childhood. Right? And today we see, right, even a gap of 5 years, it seems a lot because the world is changing so soon, so fast that you feels like they both have a very different set of upbringing or a mode of thinking, right? So so we can't see this, even though we are the parent to both our children or three or whatever number of children they are, but actually from their angle, if you see, both the child had a different set of parents. So that's why I'm saying there's no two children have the same parents or the same childhood. A lot of time the economic condition is different. Maybe for the when the first child was born, maybe the parents were economically not doing that great. They did not had so much of freedom of choice to travel or do a holiday or give the child the best school. But by the time the second child is born, maybe the parents' economic condition has changed. They are doing better. They can afford better. They can travel better. So 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 even the economic condition changes from time to time, or it can go from good to bad, either ways, right? And that has an impact on the upbringing of our children, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share one by one around 16 pointers or 16 tips of parenting, you can call it, or clues to parenting. And then you can see it, how you can apply it in your environment, right? In your setup with your children, right? So what is first thing, what is most important is to understand different phases of the child development. See, what is important is we think as a parent, oh, at the age of 2, our child is same. At the age of 6, the same child. At the age of 9, for us, child is still a child. At the age of 16, it's still a child. At the age of 22, still a child. But no, actually, with every age group, as the child is growing, his biology is changing. His brain chemistry is changing. There's a hormonal change which is happening in the child development, right? A child of 6 years is very different from the child who is of 12 years. A child of 12 years is very different when the child is of 18. So because there's a constant hormonal changes, there's a constant phases of development as a child. So as a conscious parent, we need to conscious, so as we need to be attuned to who your child is at who our child is at and what stage they are and what stage they are at in, actually I believe that all parents, as a parents, we all need a psychology course to understand our children's psychology. As parents, actually we need to understand phases of child development and understanding their brain. Sometimes I actually believe that there should be some qualifying exam for the parent. Before you conceive a baby, you should first qualify for being a parent, so that so that you can become a conscious parent, you can become a more aware parent, so that you can raise your child better, so that you don't make mistakes, and your children don't suffer because of your mistakes, because of our mistakes, right? As a parent, I have two sons. One is going to be 22, almost going to be 22, and another is will be turning 17 soon. So uh, for me, this is a topic where I feel I've learned a lot as a parent too, because a lot of times you think you're going right, you're doing perfect, but when they grow up and then you see, oh, you could have done better. Oh, this is what you never understood this. You never understood their psychology, their phases of child development. And that's why for me, I feel the leadership, the greatest challenge, if it is of leadership, is the leadership of parenting. So I'll share you a few slides. I have Keshav with me, whom I'll take his help. Yeah. So, sorry. Yeah. Can you see the slide?
No, Shreyans, we can't.
Keshav, can you share the slide? Is it possible for you?
Yeah, Zarim, we are just working on that. You will be able to see it in a minute or two. Yes, it's visible now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, so here you can see from the age of 0 to 2, the child is in delta state. As the child grows so these are the brain waves patterns in our brain. Uh, then as the child grows from 2 to 7, he's in the theta state. From 7 to 12, the child is in between 7 and 12 is still in alpha. And then 11, 12 onwards, he is able to access the beta state. Right? Now, delta state is what? The child is only absorbing. In fact, from 0 to 7, delta and theta state, the child is like a sponge. It's like a iPod without music. It's like an empty slate or a video recorder. Whatever the child is seeing, it's being recorded in the brain. The brain is being encrypted with that knowledge, with that information, right? Or so the child here is just absorbing whatever they are hearing, whatever they are seeing, it is just absorbing. Then and that absorb then more and then they still continue to absorb till the age of 11, 12. But then after at the age of 12, the child starts expressing it. Now they are not just absorbing, now they're also expressing it. I'll show you the next slide. Okay, should go next slide. Yeah, share the slide. Sorry. Yeah. So you can see These are the brainwaves patterns, brainwave development of the, as I spoke to you in the last slide. So by at the age of about 12 and above, they are able to access the beta brainwave patterns. And then as they grow up further, beta, mid beta, and high beta. High beta is when you're in a state of anger or rage, you know. So the child is able to now, as after age of 12, child is able to express anger, express uh, whatever he has learned or absorbed or kept imbibing since last 11 years or 12 years, you know. So as I told you, 0 to 6, the child is completely in the subconscious mind. All the information is coming in an encoded is because they don't have the analytical faculty to process that information. So whatever the child hears or sees, it takes it as a reality because they don't have an analytical mind. They don't say, "Oh, this is right, I should accept this. This is wrong, I should reject it." No, they don't have that analytical mind. They just absorb it as if it's true. Up to 6 years, the child is living in an imaginary world. They act like a rabbit. After that, then after 6 years, then the analytical mind begins to form. Then they begin to know that, oh, there is no Santa. That was just a story, right? Then after 12 years onwards, they begin to express anger, frustration. But as a parent, we get surprised. Until 11 years, they were just listening. They were just hearing what you were saying. Now, all of a sudden, after the age of 11 or 12, now they start replying you back. They start answering you back. They express their anger, their frustration, and parents don't like it. They hate it because they in their mind, they feel, oh, the child is getting spoiled. It's a school influence of the school or some bad company outside. Actually, it is not the influence of anything outside. It is more the influence of what the child has learned from you since last 11 or 12 years is being reflected back to you. The thing is, we don't like our own reflection. So don't worry that the child is not listening to you. Worry that the child is watching you. Children learn children learn through their eyes. Children listen through their eyes, not through the ears. Whatever they have seen you doing, now they are being reflected back to you after the age of 12 years. And the child brain develops till the age of 24. From the age of 0 to 13, parents matters a lot. But after 13, above 13, then peers matter. They need friends, and then friends becomes their life. But until 12, 13, it's all about their parents. Age 0 to 7, mother figure is most prominent. So they need more nurturing, more care, more love, more touch, that feminine aspect. Age 7 to 14, father figure becomes prominent because now the child recognizing its ego, my identity. Child wants to imbibe the masculine side. So father figure becomes prominent, you know. So so this is how we need to, it is important for us to understand. That's why it is important for us to understand child psychology. AIDS for the girls, they bond through the boys, they bond through activities. Girls bond through conversation. Many times, that's why when you try to talk too much to boys, they hate it. They feel bored because that is not the way they can bond. And one also important to understand it, for a child's mind, the world revolves around him. A child mind is like a narcissist mind. If you have come home You had some bad day in business, you you are angry, you're upset, or you're down and depressed. And if you come home like that, no, for the child, when the child sees you, when the father coming home or mother coming home, the child feels all about me. When they see you upset or down or sad or stressed, the child feels that, oh, my parents are not giving me time or attention. They don't care about me. So the child mind is like a narcissist. Everything child see, every parent behavior child see from his or her perspective. They don't understand कि, oh, my father must be going through business problem or my mother must be going through some problem, challenge in the office or whatever work she does. All the child see, oh, they are not happy when they are around me. They sense the energy. They sense the stress in the environment. And they get the message ki, oh, I am not important because you're busy with your phone calls. As parents, we are busy with our phone calls. We are watching something on our phone or replying to messages or emails or whatever. So for the child mind, as I told you, child mind is like a narcissist mind. For a child, the world only revolves around him. So we need to be careful how the child is taking it. So second important thing, what is matters in the upbringing of our children is the inner alignment of parents. That's the foremost thing, that is the best gift you can give to your child is the gift of your own inner alignment. It's the gift of your own alignment with your own self. So, friends, when your child when your child see that you are happy around him, you know, child feels happy. The most of the communication with child is non-verbal communication. A happy parent means a happy child because child feels they are being loved. They are being the parents care for them. A stressful child means child absorbs the emotions of the parent. Happiness, they'll absorb happiness. Happy parent means they'll absorb happiness. If the parents are stressed, children absorb the stress of their parents. When you are restless or unhappy, the message they get is that it's all about you. That they don't matter to you. That you don't that the children don't matter to the parents. Parents are very selfish, they are very self-centered. It's all about themselves. So that's why the best gift you can give to your child is the gift of your alignment, gift of your joy, of happiness, of your pure presence. Fully there, fully alert, fully alive, being there. But as parents, either we are silent or violent. Sometimes all of a sudden we'll scold us, we'll shout on a child or we'll scold them or reprimand them because we had some stress at home, because we are angry, we are upset. You know, the way we talk to our children becomes their inner voice. That's why, I repeat again, the way we talk to our children becomes their inner voice. That's why the work about parent-child relationship is more about healing the child within the parent. The truth is, as a parent, we have lost our connection with the inner being. And that is our relationship that we need to heal. Our relationship with our inner child. In fact, all our relationships is more about how we relate to ourselves. and more so in parenting. That's why the greatest indicator of good parenting is how good a parent you are to your own inner child. That is the greatest indicator. See, the child is thinking and receiving vibrational thought from you on the day he enters your environment. That is the reason that beliefs are transmitted so easily from parent to child and parent to child and from parent to child. And then it becomes transgenerational. We learn from our parents, we pass from we learn from us, we pass on to our children to our children. And the patterns, the belief system becomes transgenerational. The truth is, the child is vibrationally receiving your fears, your beliefs, even without your spoken words. So, if you want to do that which is of greatest value for your children, give thought only to that which you want and which you want, and your child will receive only those wanted thoughts. So, be careful of what you're thinking when you're next to your children. Be careful to what you're feeling, because that is your vibration. That is that they are reading your vibration. They are soaking your vibration. Friends, as parents, the biggest loss is actually a connection with ourselves. And we don't need to feel guilty about it. It wasn't our fault or mistake or moral failure. For us also, as a parent, for us also, it was an adaptive response to our early environment. So we don't need to judge ourselves that why we have become inauthentic in our relationships, in our expression. We think something, we feel something, and we express something else. Because the relationship with ourselves has become inauthentic. We have lost our connection with our inner being. Because these are not uh, because these are normal responses to our abnormal environment. That's why it's not our fault or a moral failure. We needed to behave like that. We needed to behave inauthentic to get our parents' approval or love. And now the same thing we behave with our children. And then our children also become inauthentic. And then this is being passed on. The truth is, inauthenticity is the biggest cause of stress. The constant pressure to behave or act in a way which you are not feeling authentically, but you have to behave in a certain way to get your parents' approval. Or in front of our children. Most of our tensions and frustrations come from the compulsive need to act as a role which we are not. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to cry. As a parents, we can't feel good. As a father, how can I cry in front of my child? But when we drop, I rather be inauthentic than actually express my deepest emotion. But the truth is, when we drop in authenticity, when we drop in authenticity and become vulnerable, we reconnect and find wholeness. We become whole. We connect to our inner being. Because of it being inauthentic, we have lost our connection with our inner being. In fact, the word healing comes from the word wholeness. So being authentic helps you to heal because it makes you feel whole. And the more we stay connected, the more we are aware of the times when we lose connection. When you are in alignment with who you really are, with your inner being, with with your authentic self, you cannot help but uplift those who come in contact with you. And then the only thing you have to give to another is an example of your alignment, example of that alignment, which first they may observe, then desire as the children, and then they work to achieve. But you cannot give it to them. You cannot give them alignment. But you can teach them alignment by your own behavior. Because you can only give what you have. You can't give what you don't have. And when you are connected, when you are state of alignment, that time, if you hold your children as your object of attention, when you are connected to the source energy, when that time when you're thinking about them, about their alignment, about their happiness, about their joys, that is the greatest gift that you can give to them or to anyone. Many times, even to our loved ones, we care, but then our way of caring is worrying about them. But I'm telling you to do absolutely the opposite of it. If you really care about someone, if you really care about your children or any of your loved ones whom you want to help, the best way to help is to first find your alignment, first find your inner joy and happiness, and then which you can now share it with them. And all you have to become the example of that alignment. Yes. You can go to the next pointer. Let me share one short video. Keshav, can you share one video? Just see how a child, as a child, the greatest desire of a child is just your parents' presence. That is the best gift a child needs. I'll share a small video, very, very cute video. So many times, or more often than not, what our child needs is your full presence. Just be there. That is what gives them the highest joy, your full presence. And more so now, because today we are living in a phone of smartphones, right? We're all the time, we are with our children, but we are on the phone and watching. And what is the message you're giving to them? I don't care about you. You're not important to me. You rather not be with the children at that moment than be with them and with your phone. But if you're with them, then offer your full presence. The message, then you give your message that, oh, my parents matter to me. I matter for my parents. Yeah, Keshav, next slide. Yes. So, as I told you about, so the third pointer which I want to talk about is offer your complete presence. The truth is, in today's culture and lifestyle, we have deprived our children of the parental presence for the most part. So, offer your presence to the child. Not be just visiting parent, not just be the restless parent. And when you see a child, welcome their presence. A child, when you show the expression of that love and excitement when you see a child, it is the best gift. So let them see the overjoy you feel to be in their presence. But say, suppose the child enters your room and you are busy on the phone and you give them a cold face. That is what hurts the child the most. The real relationship with your child does not depend on words, but your capacity to be with, just to be with, how you offer your presence. The longing of every child, the longing of every child is to be recognized not on the level of form, but on the level of being. Form is about doing, but formless is about being, showing your state of being, in what state of being you are there. So many times we go on a holiday with our children, but all the time we are on phone. So on the level of form, we are with them, but on the level of being, we are not with them. Or in our mind, we are thinking about work, or stressing about some work, or some obstacle, or some challenge, or some adverse situation which we are obsessed about. So it is the longing of every child to be recognized not on the level of form, but on the level of being. Even for a child, even as a parent, recognize them from a level of being, not what they are doing. There are two types of attention. One is of form, which is on doing, and another is formless being. When you are being alert, completely present, your touch. And that's why we are called human being. Human is form and being is formless. Someone recently told me that actually the truth is we have only 12 summers with our child, which is actually so true. Because after that, after age of 12, many times they get busy with their peers, with their friends, with their schoolwork, or they go abroad, or they go somewhere out to study, or they go to the boarding school. And those 12 years we think, oh, a child understands nothing. But the truth is, those 12 years the child is absorbing the most. That is the time where the child is forming brain connections, neurosynaptic connections happening in the brain. The highest number of neurosynaptic connections happen in the brain of a child from the age 0 to 7. That's why in Bible it is said, give me a child till, till for first 7 years and I'll make a man out of him. Because those 7 years is completely reshaping their brain. Now, another gift you can give to your children is emotional empowerment. When I say emotional empowerment, I mean to give them the permission to feel all range of emotions. They should feel the safety to remain vulnerable. See, for any child, ups and downs are natural. You should give them space to feel heavy emotions. While staying attentive and actively giving support is the sign of real love. Don't judge them for the emotion. For them, a home is a safe home, safe place. If they can't express their anger or frustration or guilt or shame or irritation, where will they share? This is their home. School, they can't do that. Friends, they can't express like that. But at home, now at home also we make so many rules. If the child is behaving not in a certain way, we give them time out. But that is the time they need more love. What is important is to understand the language of need behind that emotion. There's a need, there's an unmet need. We need to see what is that unmet need. Why is the child angry or upset? I remember once I was on a dining table and I was on my phone. And when before that, my child was talking very normally to me, very loving, nicely. And after I cut my phone, he just behaved very, very upset and angry with me. Now, he didn't say, "Oh, I am upset or angry because you were on the phone call." But he was upset and angry. And I became angry with him. How can you talk to me like this? How can you behave like this? So, but then I realized that, oh, later on I realized, oh, because I was on the phone call and he didn't like that. And that was my mistake. So, what is important to understand the language of need, because it was the need for the child for that loving attention at that time, your full presence at that time. And by talking on the phone, I denied that presence. And the child was angry because of that, not because of some stupid topic or discussion. That was just a reason for him to express his emotion. And now, if that moment, if you shut your child, then the relationship becomes inauthentic. Because the need of the child is to be attached with the parents. And if the attachment is conditional to their behavior, then even though if they are feeling angry or upset, they will pretend to behave nice. And that's where inauthenticity starts in a relationship. The child's expression of feelings cannot threaten the attachment relationship with the parents. The child will, the child will rather feel, the child will rather think that, oh, I rather be inauthentic than to lose my love with my parents. Oh, if my sibling behaves in a nice way, my parents give so much love to them. If I express my authentic emotion, which is sometimes I feel upset or angry, my parents give me time out. They don't give me they behave me as if I'm not good enough. Okay, then I'll pretend to be joyful. I'll pretend to smile. And that is the beginning of child's inauthentic relationship with his inner being and with his parents. And the same relationship becomes the relationship with the world when the child grows. The truth is, relationships are not about fixing everything for each other. They are about experiencing joyful moments and tough times as a team and loving each other through the changes. Sometimes the child just needs to go through their own process to emerge lighter and freer than before. Once they express, they feel lighter, they feel free, they'll even forget it. But we as parents always want to modify the child's behavior. But the truth is, if the parents win the modification behavior, if the parents win the behavior modification game, the child loses. Because that behavior modification game, that instills anxiety in the child of being rejected if their emotional self were to surface. And that puts a heavy toll on their emotional and mental state. Now they started suppressing their emotions, freezing their emotions. And by banishing feeling from their awareness, we've merely sent them underground, a locked cellar of emotions that will continue to haunt many lives. because those emotions will not lie idle forever. Those suppressed emotions, as they grow up, somewhere they will need to express. Sometime they'll need to express. If you don't heal what hurts you, you will bleed on people who didn't cut you. So, as if they are being tormented as a child or or they became a victim, and parents were the perpetrator, as the child grow up, the child will become the perpetrator or the tormentor or remains victim. Both are not good. This fear of being judged stays deep in the child's psyche. It remains buried and suppressed. And as they grow up, they are constantly afraid of being betrayed or losing money or being abandoned, of their appearance or being ridiculed, rejected, or wrong being found out. Because of that, they develop lack of trust and unable to create true intimacy. They deeply hate and reject their own shameful imperfections because it was not accepted by the parent. So now, even though hate it, they reject it, but they keep it suppressed. They hide their vulnerabilities. And that's why it makes it completely, it makes it impossible for them to be completely real and transparent. They lack, then that's why they lack integrity, authenticity, and don't seem genuine. They always carry a mask, and that creates stress and anxiety. How stressful it is to always create a mask. We see it with social media. Child is depressed, but on the Instagram, showing showing picture of partying or having a great dinner. But the truth is, sooner or later we'll have to face it. What remains unconscious will appear in our life as fate. Many times we marry, our spouse becomes archetype of a mother or father. That's why it is often said we often marry our father or mother. Because we attract the same archetypes of parents so that eventually we heal. We repeat what we don't repair. So universe gives us same challenging relationship that someday you heal, someday you learn, you wake up. So friends, it is okay. You rather be vulnerable than to be inauthentic. In fact, vulnerability is necessary for growth. Without vulnerability, there is no growth. This emotions, all range of emotions is important to be expressed. Our emotional growth gets stunted if a child's emotional growth gets stunted if they cannot freely express themselves. When we lose our tolerance for vulnerability, joy becomes forbidden. Children will grow up, they'll have the house, but they have lost their home. They'll have success, but no significance. They'll have power, but no purpose. They'll have money, but no meaning. Because because of living an inauthentic life, they've lost their connection with the inner being. They've lost their connection with the source, which is an ultimate resource, which is the true source of joy. They've lost their connection. The truth is, any emotion which the child expresses, positive, negative, doesn't matter. Either it is an act of love or a cry for love. Every action of them is either an act of love or a cry for love. Behind their cry, behind their anger, behind their blame or frustration, there is a cry for love. There's a need for love. And if the parents didn't know how to hold the child, then child develops the mind to wish to hold the mind with which to hold themselves. And many times they suffer alone because child the parents can't take it is not acceptable. Their actual emotions are not acceptable to the parents. So now they will lock the room and cry alone, suffer alone. Because they develop their own mind, because parents can't hold the child, so the child develops the mind with which to hold themselves, because they need to survive, and then they suffer alone, and then pain plus loneliness is equal to trauma. Pain does not become trauma, but when pain, as children we all go through pain, but we all come out of it. But when the child who goes through pain and suffer alone, that pain plus loneliness is equal to trauma. It's a psychological wound that will sustain your life all through your life. Trauma is a psychological wound that you sustain. Trauma is not what happens to you. Trauma is what happens in you as a result of what happens to you. I'll repeat, trauma is not what happens to you. Trauma is what happens in you as a result of what happens to you. So as an adult, when we carry the trauma, it is not a response to the present moment. It is a response to the past. In fact, it is the past that we are carrying in our emotional body, inner psyche. So remember, all stress is not trauma, but all trauma is stressful. Pain plus loneliness is equal to trauma. When the child suffers alone, then it becomes a trauma. And the trauma not transformed become trauma transferred. And the same trauma the child passes on to the people around them, to their children, as when they grow up. If the wound is not healed, they will become very sensitive. For example, if somebody taps me like this, I'll say, "Oh, what happened?" But suppose, imagine if I have a wound inside, and I'm wearing a cloth, I'm wearing clothes, and the wound is hidden, and somebody taps me, it will hurt me like anything, and I'll be ready to fight. I'll be angry and upset. I'll say, "Why are you hitting me?" It's the same tap, but because of the wound, I've become extremely sensitive. Now I'm ready to fight. Sensitivity is both a curse and a boon, depending on the positive or the negative environment. And when the child's brain growth is stunted, the emotional growth is stunted as a child, that and when they grow up, we call them mental illnesses. That emotional growth, that stunted growth, develops that so-called mental illnesses. In fact, I don't want to call it mental illnesses. I would rather say that they have been injured. That's it. See, our body always keeps a score. Because whatever emotions we feel, our body is a memory bank of all these emotions, and we store it in our body. Our body keeps a score and it always wins. Nothing records the effect of sad life as graphically as the human body. Body always keeps a score. And all these mental illnesses, so-called mental illnesses, comes from somewhere very specific. It has a story. And in this story, if suppose I have a mental illness and I have a story around it, I'll always have a story around my mental illness. I always say, oh, in my child or in my this was happened to me, this was done to me. So in that story, I'll always say that I was the only one who had no power. I will have my victimhood story. How I was being taken advantage of, or how I was being suppressed or overpowered. And how and the child was not allowed to express. And that lack of expression led to led to expression of their feelings is the beginning of disease. See, suppressing your negative feeling or feel intensely about the wrong without voicing or expressing that feeling is the beginning of disease. Lack of expression leads to depression. When you carry the trauma, then the child carries the trauma and they carry the trauma or some kind of mental disease, or basically you are being injured. And when you carry that injury, as you grow up in your life, they become more prone to addiction, because all addictions are actually painkillers. That becomes the child's coping mechanism as they grow up as an adult. Numb and run. In the childhood, the coping mechanism was lack of expression and being inauthentic. But that trauma which they're carrying, the wound that they're sustaining, is extremely painful even when they grow up as a child. They don't know how to become happy, how to stay happy. So when they drink, or when they smoke, or when they take some drug, for that moment, that it acts like a painkiller. That pain is being numbed and they feel joy. So the question is not the addiction. The question is, why the addiction? First question is not what's bad about addiction. First question is what's good about addiction. Because there was something good. Initially, there was something good in the short run. Because they felt happy for that time being. They felt a sense of power and the sense of agency over their life. And that's why they want to drink again and again. Because it's longing for everyone to be happy. But then, same alcohol becomes addictive. Same dose of alcohol is not giving the joy which they were seeking in that alcohol. So they need more and more then. And then, of course, it has its own side effects. So, friends, most of these mental diseases are actually are more about is a lot to do with our childhood upbringing. And actually, there are very few physical markers of mental illnesses. Most of it are subjective: mood, behavior, sleep patterns, appetite. But the truth is, like all concepts, mental illness is also a construct. It's a particular frame that we have developed to understand a phenomena and explain what we observe. That's why we label it as some of mental illnesses. When we say depression, actually, what is depression? Nothing but inefficiency of serotonin, insufficiency of serotonin. Serotonin is a powerful neurotransmitter, is a happy chemical. ADHD. What is ADHD? Nothing but insufficiency of dopamine. Dopamine is a motivation molecule. When the motivation is lacking because there is lack of dopamine, and that's what we call ADHD. And so many names we have given. Somebody was telling me, some psychologist was telling me there are more than 160 now different mental illnesses. They've labeled it with certain names. Bipolar disorder, whatever disease. Actually, all disease lies in my dis-ease. My disease lies in my dis-ease. When I was not at ease as a child, then it turns into some disease, some mental illness. So the important question is not what happened to you. So the important question is not what's wrong with you. The important question is what happened to you. What happened to you as a child? And this question can potentially change the whole course of treatment. See, our brain is an artifact. It's an historical organ. It stores our personal narrative. So, friends, emotional empowerment is very important for a child to express all range of emotions. Remember, it is easier to build a strong children. It's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. As they grow up, when they get all these so-called mental illnesses or disorders, it becomes much more challenging to repair at that stage. It's much easier to build a strong children. So, how are we doing with the time? Yeah, okay. So we have probably 15 more minutes. Another thing, what is important for the child is the joy of unstructured play. See, allow the children to experience the free play in order to feel alive and mature. Today, we are living in a cosmo world, in a city where everything we are so structured. We don't even let the children cross the street. But the truth is, kids love to experiment with the environment. Allow them to break the cup. They learn through play, fun, and curiosity. Kids are the source of chaos and disorder. Give them the sovereign right to muddle and fumble and tumble. Let the children suffer sometimes. Let them suffer. Let them experience pain. It's okay. We have become like a helicopter parents. Come on, get over that fact. Children mind is like an experimental mind. They are like a scientist. They like to experiment with the environment. Even when they break the cup, they learn something. Even when they burn the finger in the fire, they learn something. So don't kill their curiosity. If you kill your curiosity in the childhood, the curiosity kills as they grow adult. But when you let them maintain their curiosity, experiment with their curiosity, they retain that same curiosity throughout their childhood. That's how they become great they're great inventors, great scientists. So don't try to fix everything for your children. For me personally, this is the biggest lesson for as a parent. We have to surrender. Life is a pain. Life is unpredictable. Life is an adventure. But you know something? As a child, they have the capacity to morph much more than us adults. One moment they are crying, and the very next moment they are playful. They are soft and supple. We are rigid. They are flexible. They can adapt to any environment. We are rigid. In fact, for that, we need to learn from them. Another important thing is to instill fairness in your child. Play fair. Many times we become partial because one child is doing good to us, is doing yes, yes to you, is talks very softly, then we become more partial to the child. So instill fairness. You be fair. Many times when you make mistakes, you say sorry. We tell our children always to say sorry. But when we make mistakes, we don't ever say sorry. In the child is resenting that. The child say, how unfair. You can do anything what you want and it's fine. And we make any small mistake and we should say sorry, but you are not answerable. You are not accountable, but we are accountable. So friends, children learn through their eyes. They listen through their eyes, not through their ears. Because they have we all have these children, we have the mirror neurons. They are seeing what you are doing. If you don't, if you don't walk your talk, they will not walk their talk. If you say something and do something and behave different rules for them and different rules for you, different rule for one child and different rule for another children, they feel extremely unfair and resentful. And then they become unfair. That's why they become sometimes criminals or sometimes they learn to cheat people or fraudsters. Because they don't think that fairness is a virtue. They start believing that this is the way to survive, this is the way to do things. This is how my parents did. So this is fair. If I don't have money, I'll steal from somebody. That's fairness. I need to survive. Another important trait to teach child is to embrace authenticity. By embracing authenticity, I mean you need to allow the child to rest from the work of earning his right to be who he is or who he is as he is. What I mean to say is the child should not feel the need to earn something, to do something to earn the love of the parents. The child should feel welcome in the presence of parents. They can rest from just being themselves. The biggest stress about human being is trying to who you are not. The truth is we are actually wired for authenticity. But the moment we see a child, we say, oh, have you cut your nails? Have you done your homework? Have you done this? Have you done that? Have you eaten your food? Have you done, as if the child has to constantly do something to get to have the approval of the parents. They can't, they don't feel that they can just rest in the presence of parents without being asked 10 questions. Have they done this or have they done not? And if they've not done something, you'll say, go and do that now. And by the time they come back, you have two more things to ask. Now, have you done that? So child always feel that they can't, they need to always earn their right to be loved, to have the love of the parents or to be with their parents. They need to feel that they can rest from their need to work the earn or need to work or earning their right to be who they actually are, to be who they are authentically are. The bond that links your true family is not one of blood, but one of respect and joy in each other's life. You have to respect a child. Another trait that we need to inculcate in a child is to foster autonomy. Create autonomy in children. Involve them in decision-making process. They should feel heard. If you want something from them, ask as a request, not demand it. Because all force creates resistance. If you demand from them something, the child becomes submissive or a rebel. Both are not healthy. So foster, make them your, if you have some goals for yourself or make them your accountability partners. Make your children your accountability partners. So they also feel they are involved in in your life. They also get to correct you. Not only you get to correct them, they also get to correct you. Allow them to make their own decisions. Allow them to make their own mistakes. That makes them as a confident children. A lot of times when the parents are extremely dynamic, I've seen children become, and they say dominate every decision. The children lose their autonomy. They lose their self-confidence because they don't know how to make decisions. Also important to remember is to remember how you talk to your children. See, children listen, respond more to your energy and tone than to your words. It's always a non-verbal communication. Make your communication with children non-violent. The tone, the tenor, the way you speak, the language, the words you use should be all non-violent. Sometimes we say sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. That's not sorry, right? So our words could be different, but the tone and or the energy behind it could be so different. Sometimes we shout at them or we even something nice. Do your homework. You know, the problem is not saying to do their homework, how you say to them. From what energy are you speaking to them? As if you're demanding them, as if you're commanding them, as if they are some puppet. Now, another thing, it is important to remember that there's education which happens beyond schooling. We as parents are so obsessed by schooling, homework of schooling, job, what is your rank, what is your grade, all that. Mark Twain said, he said, don't let schooling come in the way of education. So there's education beyond schooling. The children learn through a lot of other things, not just schooling. Schooling is also important. It is one way of learning, but not the only way of learning. Education through schooling is important, but still limiting. A lot of times in the school, they always teach them how to how to get good grades, good degrees, to get go to a good university. In good university, they teach how to get a good job, how to make more money. Somehow, indirectly, how to become more greedy. The truth is, we are wired for generosity, but educated for greed. That's what Mark Twain said. We are wired for generosity, but educated for greed. That's why children is sad when he's leaving home for school. They're not happy to go to school. It's not because the memory of the school is not a great place to be in. We never teach children. They should learn how to learn so that they become lifelong learners. But because of the parents' conditioning, parents' obsession with their social conditioning, that obscures their ability to see the child for who he or she is. Many times they want to become something else. But we want them to become something else, to pursue some specific education which we want them to pursue. We influence their child, our child. We tell them, no, you have to be like this. And that obscures the ability for the child to develop their own way. They never get to figure out for what they are, who they are. They never get to hear their soul calling from within. They never get to hear the beat of their own essence. They just, as if they just came to be herded into cattle. And this is where the disconnection is. That's when the relationship becomes inauthentic. In fact, in our culture, there's a genocide of inauthenticity. Everywhere, the relationship becomes so inauthentic because it is inauthentic relationship with your own being. The child is saying, see me. And all this he reflected back is the parents' ideation of what they should be. If you want an intimate relationship with your child, then you have to see the child as the child wants you to see them. Intimacy, intimacy. Into me, you see. That's what makes an intimate relationship. The truth is, as a child, I was always very creative. But they have lost as they start growing up because of many times they lose their creativity. And later on, then we tell them oh, you used to sing so well. Oh, you used to dance so well. You used to paint so well. That is the tragedy. The tragedy is we are only trying to help grown children recover what they already had. The truth is, children come here to teach us how to be in the present moment. And they ask us to shed our ideas of worth and identity and success and about them and ask us to recognize that can we accept them for who they are. And the reason parents can't do this is because they don't accept themselves for who it is they are. And that is the biggest trauma for the child. The biggest trauma for a child is not being seen for what they are. Parents impose their likes, their dislikes. They decide their career path. The truth is, our focus should be more on child's personality development than on performance. Now we treat our children as a performer. Because when they get good grades, we get to tell our friends, oh, my son got A star in my school. Teaching kids to count is fine, but teaching them what counts is best. Teaching kids to count is fine, but teaching them what counts is fine. And what really counts is their personality development. Another thing is important to cultivate in a child is to cultivate empathy. And remember one thing, empathy as a trait, as an emotional trait, can only be learned as a child. And how do they learn empathy? The only way you can teach a child empathy, only way they learn empathy is when you demonstrate empathy. As I told you, children hear through their eyes, not through your ears. Children actually have never been very good at listening to their parents, but they have never failed to imitate them. So don't worry that the children never listen to you. Worry that they're always watching you. Another thing to cultivate in a child is micro routines. Teach them micro routine to make their own bed, clean their own floor. For example, US Navy SEALs First thing they have to do as soon as they get up is to make their own bed. These small, small things makes a big difference. A victory anywhere is a victory everywhere. How do you do small? How you do small things is how you do the big things. If you get the first few years right, you will not need to spend the rest of your life trying the remedy of parenting. So it is important to build a structure around kids, but not like a military regiment. It's a balance. It's an art of balancing between being and doing. Especially millennials now, they tell them what to do, not how to do. They don't like to be micromanaged. They don't like helicopter parents. They don't like to be in your constant scrutiny. Though it is important to instill discipline in children, to instill this micro routine, to instill structure, because then they learn the value of structure. They learn to be independent, humble, and grateful. Nerve cells that fire together, wire together. So so start small. Then it is good to have some accountability for their actions. Children that aren't taught accountability for their actions grow up to become adults that they think they do that they think that nothing they do is wrong. So it is important to have structure. It is important to develop some micro routines. Another is respect boundaries. See, it is like we all want our boundaries to be respected. So it is also important to respect the child boundaries. As an adult, the reason why do you feel anger when your boundaries are being trespassed? But then you express it as anger. But when you, as a parent, trespass child's boundary and when they express anger, then you shout at them. You should shut them off. A child, when you cross child's boundary, they cannot express because it has consequences. So then they suppress it. And then that turns into rage and anxiety in later years. It is every desire of a child at a deeper level from a state of being is to be treated equally. Because the truth is they're all souls, equal souls. But then we suppress their emotions. They depress, they have to depress their emotions. To depress means to depress something means to push it down. If they suppress their emotion, they depress their emotions. It takes a lot of their concerted energy to push it down. So suppose like a beach ball in a swimming pool, how much concerted force it takes to keep the ball submerged. So same way for a child to keeping these emotions down takes a toll on them. All their energy is focused on survival mode, and that's why they lose creativity. These suppressed emotions is constantly uh, uh, eating all their creative energy. And it's not, and all these emotions are interconnected. If you hold one thing down, you hold the adjoining emotion down. Thus, the repression of emotion can become a state of chronic disconnect, even a withdrawal from life. And that becomes programmed into a brain, that becomes embedded into the personality. That's why, friends, it's important to keep healthy boundaries and honor the child's boundaries too. Healthy boundaries make healthy relationships. Another thing important to know is the power of doing good, not just to deprive children of good things that they need. Just because you're not doing bad things is not good enough. See, many times we think, oh, I have not done anything bad to a child. But it's not about doing bad, not doing bad to a child. It's about what good you are doing to your child. Indifference does the greatest harm. Sometimes we abandon one child. We give them time out. We ignore them. We behave indifferent to them. But that does the greatest harm. Opposite of love is not hate, but indifference. Abandonment is pessimism in action. So, but in our culture, we have deprived children of the parental presence for most part. A child's need is a deep sense of contact and connection with the parents, and a child's brain can't handle an attachment void where there is an attachment figure. That they can't handle. It is their need to be attached to their parents. Sometimes we feel, oh, we are close to the parents. But what is the question to ask is, does the child feel whether he feels close to you or not? The power to parent comes from the child to belong to the parent. Remember this, the power to parent comes from the child to belong to the parent and not to the peer group. The power to parent comes not from the parent. Whether the child feels a sense of belonging to the parent. Otherwise, they need some way to be belonged to. If they can't belong to their parents, then they belong to their peer, to their friends. That's why they go out. They escape the family environment. That's when we lose the power to parent. And when we start seeing that, oh, we are losing the power to parent, then we become more authoritarian and dominating and controlling and put more pressure. And the more the child resists. And now we label them. The truth is, labels are for jars, not for human beings. So the sign of great parenting is not the child's behavior. The sign of great parenting is the parent's behavior. Another is to how we look at our children. We need to shift our perspective. See, sometimes it is important to understand that a child is a reflection of us. It is a mirror. Child is a mirror trying to tell us whom we are. So the conscious parenting is realizing that something your child is that your child is only reflecting back to you about what you are. So there's something, maybe rather than trying to change them, is there something that is needed for me to change within myself, which is being reflected back to me in my child's behavior. So if there's anything that you wish to change in your child, you should first examine it and see whether it is not something that could be better in changed in yourself. Conscious parenting is also recognizing sometimes that your child is an older soul than you. That is what I've learned from both my children. I've realized that they are much older soul than me, and I need to learn a lot from them. Every time I'm around them, I learn so much from them. Last I'll end is, remember that whatever you do, your parenthood is only a role that you play. Of so many different roles that we play in this lifetime, in this temporary life on this planet Earth, where we came as a visitor for a temporary time being, as a soul. We have come for some learning, for growth. Your parenthood is also still a role. So You do your role and back off. Because your children are here to ultimately be their own sovereign beings. As Khalil Gibran said on children, your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. Though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts. You may house your bodies. You may house their bodies, but not their souls. For souls dwell in the house of tomorrow. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backwards, nor tarries with yesterday. Your children do not belong to you. This is what Khalil Gibran said on children. So beautiful. And actually, the truth is, no other life belongs to you. If other life has chosen to be with you, please cherish them. They are a blessing. So, thank you, friends. I'll end this session now.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shreans, for this very insightful, informative, and such a personal session in terms of your experiences. And so many people were able to relate to everything that you were saying. I was just reading the chat messages constantly. So I was thinking maybe we can move into a Q&A now and then end the
Yeah,
session
sure.
with
Sure.
meditation.
We'll do a short meditation for 22 minutes. So we can do
Okay.
10 minutes, maybe Q&A, and then we can.
Perfect. Sounds good. So I have a few questions in the chat box that I'll pick it up, but I also want to take this moment and let others know also to maybe share your questions in the chat box, or like, Premlata has raised her hand. You can also do that, whichever way you're feeling comfortable. I'll start with the questions in the chat box. The question number one is Zareen is saying, kindly explain how the older child needs to be given more love and attention as uh, okay, cool. Okay, there's something miss here. Zareen, if you would like to uh, unmute yourself and maybe clarify that for us. You're on mute.
Hello.
Yes,
Thank you very
thank you.
much.
Yeah.
Especially
I'm
when a
not able to see them. Can you just change the screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, please. Yeah, yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much. It was a wonderful session. My interest is to give light that when the second child is born and the first one feels a bit deprived because all the attention that the parents start giving is for the second child, and then the child feels lost, the elder one. So, some hint on that to parents for
Yes.
how to manage being in equilibrium to both the children.
Yeah. So just to become very aware, as I told you, the child mind is like a narcissist, right? They think everything is about them. So it is important to keep that balance. And that balance is important for their own relationships. Because if the child sees, oh, because of that new person being born, the attention, my parents don't love me anymore, or they're not giving me attention. So the child starts hating that child, because for now the child is a competitor. He will not understand ki, who is my brother or she's my daughter, sister. To see as a competitor, and even their relationships get affected, right? So it is important to keep the balance, to keep the understanding, and also explain that, as much we love both of you equally. And so keep also telling them that their relation, that you value the relationship with the elder one also equally. So
No, by saying it doesn't make a difference. From the attitude, from the
from
more
the
of
attitude.
interaction.
Yes, yes, yes. So as I told you, these are all clues that I can give you now, exactly to apply it in your family with your child. It is something which you have to now use your wisdom and intellect to imbibe that. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Zareen. The next question in the chat box is Mridul is saying, my son is 12 years old and I realize that I have not raised him as a conscious parent. How do I repair things now?
No, बोलते हैं ना जब जागो तब सवेरा. So it's fine. It's okay. There's nothing to feel guilty or shameful about it. Many times as a parent we feel, oh, we did wrong to our child, and but we didn't know better, right? Nobody taught us. Our parents didn't teach us also, so nobody taught us, so it's fine. But as now we know, as we become conscious, starts from now, right? So start demonstrating now. So so do- so when you heal your present, you heal your past. That is the power we have as a human being, as a conscious being, as a consciousness. So because how we store all our emotions are nothing but the record of the past. Even your child is carrying the past in form of emotions. When you are able to help him heal his present emotions, his past will naturally get healed, right? Because how do the emotions are nothing but the record of the past, right? So when you heal your emotions, when he's healed emotionally now, his past will get healed anyways. When you heal your emotionally yourself now, your past will get anyways. That's why when you heal your present, your past also get healed, and which in turn heal your future also, because that becomes your vibration. Your wholeness becomes your vibration, and then you attract more wholeness into your life.
Mm.
So start from now, become more aware, be more conscious. If you need to say sorry about it. It's okay to apologize if you've done something wrong. Right? Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Shreans. The next one, I think, it also, is similar to the previous question, but I'm still going to read it. It says, what do we, Hema is asking this, what do we do and how do we handle things when we ourselves have been victims of abandonment? How can we give what we don't have?
So that time, that's why meditation plays such an important role. Meditate. That is a great tool to find our own inner alignment, because absolutely you cannot give what you don't have. So, so first is to find your inner joy, find your inner connection. That's where spirituality plays such a great role, great tool. Meditation, breath work are great tools for finding your own connect. And from that connect, then be ready to give. But yes, first give yourself your priority. First heal your inner child. First give attention to your inner child. Once that relationship is healed, then you'll be able to then from that, when your cup is overflowing, then you can give, right? Otherwise, the act of giving, when you don't have, and still if you're trying to give, you will feel so sacrificed. You will feel burnout. Then you will give with a lot of expectation. And when the child do not live up to your expectation, you will feel rejection. And then resentment, and then anger and frustration, and all that vicious cycle. So short-term gain, but long-term pain. So it's better to first give yourself priority. Take time out. Your first priority is to regain your wholeness, to regain your connection. Yeah.
Thank you. Beautifully explained, Shriyans. We have two more questions. They are both related to teenagers. So we'll take that up. And then I'll ask Premlata to share her questions after that. First one is, how do we handle a teenager who now feels that I am constantly disciplining him? I am doing it only because I can see that now he is brave to break certain rules. That is one. And the second one is, how do you handle a teenager who doesn't express her feelings?
Right. So first thing is I'm also learning this. I also have both two teenage. So, in my experience, what I have seen is, it's not about not telling them what to do or what not to do. It is very important from what state of being are you saying what you're saying. Like my son who is 21, suppose sometimes they go out partying, drinking, over drinking, things like that. You know, so it's not about you don't tell them what to do, what not to do. but from what state of being are you saying what you're doing? And even if they break the rules, again, are you angry? Are you upset? Have you lost connection with yourself? You have lost yourself? My first thing is, why is it triggering me? If it is triggering me, that means it's something in me which I need to heal. So in that sense, your child becomes your teacher, right? So can you, are you from what state of being are you trying to discipline or give them structure? That is the key. See, when you say from a good, and I've seen that most of the time when you yourself are in a good state of being and balance, your one sentence is good enough and they will listen to you. Because it is also their need to belong to you. It is not just your need. So, but when you stay from a state of anger and resentment and frustration and reprimand and command, then they resent. What you resist, you persist. Then it's a game you're playing. You're playing the game of stealing energy from each other. You shout and steal energy, then they resist and they also break another rule and they steal energy from you. Oh, if you can make me irritated, I can also irritate you. By a different way, by breaking the rules. So it becomes a game of stealing energy from each other. But when your energy is not stolen, or you have not allowed your energy to be stolen away, and no matter what they have done, it's only a role you are playing as a parent, and you have still maintained your alignment and calm and balance. And when you demonstrate whatever you have to say from the state of calm and balance, then it enters their heart. Then your behavior speaks to them more than your words. Then they learn calm and balance from you. As Rumi said, when the words come from the heart, they'll enter the heart. And it will only come from the heart when you become an example of when you are walking the talk. But when you are not walking the talk and you're just saying it, and then the child says, oh, so inauthentic, so fake. Practice before you preach. In the mind, that is what they are telling you. They're not listening to you at all. They're feeling more resistant. Next time they say, oh, next time I go out, I'll break the rule further. So it is very important to demonstrate that balance, that calm, that alignment. And from that state of alignment, say, it's not what you're saying, it's how you are saying it. From what state of being are you saying it? That is the key. And most of the time when you demonstrate that state of being, 90% of the time you don't even need to say. You will see the change of behavior in their, they will amaze you because they rejoice in your change and they want to reward you for your change, and they will demonstrate you in their behavior. Yeah.
Thank you, Shreans. And there was also one about how to handle a teenager who doesn't express her feelings.
So allow them to express their feelings. Express your vulnerability. When you feel vulnerable, express them. So they feel it's safe to express, not to judge them. So when they feel safe to express, then they'll express. Every child wants to express. They just need to be safe to express. That their expression will not be judged. They'll not be reprimanded for expressing wrong emotions. So the best way is you start expressing your emotions. Someday when you are upset, you are angry, you are feeling hurt, you are feeling sad, whatever you're feeling, good emotion, bad emotion, express in front of them. So that they start expressing them. They start feeling this as a norm. It's not abnormal to express negative emotion. Yeah.
Great.
Express the need behind the emotion. Teach them to express when they express the emotion, understand the language of need. What is your need? And understand their need and meet that need. Then they feel safe to express their emotions. Yeah.
So two of the users also have questions. Premlata has raised her hand initially. So we'll start with you, Premlata, and Usha. After that, you can go ahead and ask your question. And I think that would be the last two questions that we take for this evening. So, Premlata, we'll start with you.
Or what we can do is we can skip meditation today.
Okay.
Yeah, and because we have only 10 minutes anyways.
Right.
So
Right.
let's continue with questions and we can skip
Perfect.
meditation, right? And
Sounds
I have my app Soul Lab, so they can always do meditations from the app.
great. Great. Sounds good.
I mean, if you're okay with that, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see if you have more questions and then maybe we can take a call accordingly.
Okay,
So,
fine.
yes, Premlata, you can go ahead and ask your question.
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू। नेटवर्क सही है मेरा ना? आवाज
हाँ,
आ रही है?
सही है, सही।
थैंक यू, थैंक यू। ये सेशन ऐसा था कि आपने मेरे बचपन को पूरा ऐसे लग रहा था कि बता रहे हैं। मेरा बचपन में पेरेंटिंग टॉक्सिक रहा, और जब हम खुद पेरेंट्स बने तो हमको पता नहीं था कि हम भी वही चीज, वही रोल कर रहे थे। वैसे ही बच्चों को ट्रीट करना, मारना पीटना, और ऐसे मारना कि कुछ कहने का नहीं। उनको पेन होता था तो हमको मजा आता था। ये हालत थी मेरी, और बहुत बातें बढ़ी इसके कारण। लेकिन फिर समझ में आया कि बच्चों को सुधारना है, मेरे को नहीं, खुद को नहीं। और फिर पेरेंटिंग ज्वाइन किया, लेकिन वहाँ पे मेरा इनर चाइल्ड जो बचपन में सच में हर्ट था, वहाँ हील हुआ और सब चीज़ें सुधरी। एक एक पॉइंट जो आपने बोला ना, वो सच में कमाल का था। वो सच में सुधारने के लिए था मेरा, और 3 साल लगे हमको सुधरने में। और बच्चे के साथ आज मेरे रिलेशन सच में बहुत अच्छा। पहले वो शेयर नहीं करता था, शांत हम ही कर दिए थे उसको, मार मार के बात करना बंद कर दिया था। 10 साल का था वो तभी, अभी 12 साल का है। और अभी बहुत अच्छे रिलेशन है हम लोग के। और बेटी मेरी अभी 10 साल की है, बेटा 12 साल का है। तो बेटी आज मेरे को बोली है सर, और वो मेरे लिए इतना माइंड ब्लोइंग था कि मम्मी आप जब नेक्स्ट रीबर्थ लोगे तो कहाँ लोगे, वो पूछ रही थी मेरे से। तो पूछे उसको क्यों, तो बोली कि नहीं, मेरे को आप ही के पास आना है, और आप मेरी मम्मी बनना, फिर हम आपके गर्भ में हम ध्यान करेंगे, फिर सब बोलेगा कि ध्यानी बच्चा आ रहा है। और इतना अच्छा लगा कि जो बच्ची पहले बोलती थी कि आपसे बात करने में भी डर लगता था, आपसे पूछ के सूसू जाने में डर लगता था कि कहीं आप मार ना दो, ये हालत था। और आज जो वो शब्द बोली, माइंड ब्लोइंग। आपने ये सेशन कमाल का, पूरा एक पैकेज है, ये कंप्लीट पेरेंटिंग का पैकेज है। थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू।
Thank you, Premlata, and thank you for sharing. Thank you.
Thank you, Premlata ji. Usha ji, you want to ask your question now? Up, can you unmute yourself first? Yeah.
Namaskar, can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes,
can.
yes, ma'am. How are you?
All well, sir. Thank you so much. Enjoying your sessions.
Thank
I just wanted to make one point that, a time has come that we make a work life balance, in the sense that more and more women are working, which is very encouraging. But when I see the unorganized sector, having their children with them when they are, whether they are construction worker or vegetable vendors, their children are all the time with them. And then behavioral problems are less with them than our children. If you read the books of many billionaires who were poor, they never say the trauma part. They never had that trauma. They only remember the poverty part, whether it is Sundar Pichai or Bill Gates, whoever could be. So the point I'm trying to make is that somewhere we will have to learn work-life balance. Initial 5 years are very, very important, as you rightly said. Um, my granddaughter, when once or twice went to the office because of something, and then when she came back, she was not happy, and I asked her why, and she said, "Mama didn't have time." So my daughter-in-law asked, "I was with you all the time. Why do you say so? Why do you complain?" And she said, "Did you ever look at me? What am I doing and how am I doing?" And I was so stunned that she is so sensitive to have that look from her mother. And that's how the children are. And so probably we all have to learn the work life balance. Thank you so much for your tips. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Namaskar.
And one uh, caveat that I am also learning what I'm sharing. I feel parenting is one thing which I learn every day, something or the other keeps evolving and some insight, some understanding keeps coming up. And I feel it's a great tool for growth and evolution. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Rishaji. Thank you so much. Um, thank you. Thank you once again, Shreyans, for a beautiful session. Do we have any more questions in the group? Dimple was requesting that she would love to do the meditation, but Dimple, I'm so sorry. Since we are running out of time, and Shreyans did mention it's a 22-minute long meditation, so we might not be able to accommodate in today's session.
But they can do from the app. Soul Lab is our app. They can
Yeah.
download the app. It's a free app. And
Okay,
they have so many meditations, both in English or Hindi. They can do whenever they want.
perfect. Perfect. All right. Are there any more questions? All right. Okay. I don't see there are any more questions. So we can actually go ahead and close the session. Preeti, can you please take over?
Thank you, Samita. Samita, for really moderating this so well. Thank you so much.
Pleasure was all mine, Shreyans. It was lovely meeting you, and I would like to take this moment to thank all the participants as well for being extremely active throughout the session and making the session what it truly was. So thank you so much for your contribution as well. Thank you very much.
And thank you to all the participants also for the gift of your time and attention. Thank you so much. And
Thank you.
trusting me with your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shreyansh, for this beautiful session. And I've also shared the model page link in the chat box. So you can access the recording tomorrow at 9 a.m. And we also have many new sessions coming up on Soul Sensei. And one of them is Daily Soul Sync, which happens every day in the morning at 8 a.m. So you can join in that session also for more balanced day and positivity. And I've also shared that link in the chat box. You can register it there. Thank you, everyone.
Great. Thank you all. Thank you and happy Navratri to all. Thank you.